welcome back. Today I'm here to show you how to measure the length of your saddle. So whether you've got one to sell or you're just interested in the one that you've got, then what you need is a tape measure with inches on and to watch this video. So sit back, make yourselves a cup of tea and hopefully enjoy. So this is a super quick, super easy video and it shows you how to correctly measure the length of your saddle. But before I get started, I'm going to say that age-old thing which you're all going to roll your eyes at. Oh, we know, and I know, I go on about it all the time. But if you're in any doubt about anything at all saddle related, whether it's the length of your saddle, if you've got one to sell and you just want some advice, then please ask your saddle fitter, because that is what we are here for. We trained for a bazillion years to know all of this stuff, and that is what we're here for. And most of us don't mind at all answering questions, and we do know an awful lot more than the general public, especially those on Facebook. So in this video I'm going to show you how to measure the length of a saddle really quickly, but I'm also going to show you a saddle that doesn't measure true, so you can see what I mean when I say this isn't always black and white, there are some grey areas. And I'm also going to show you whereabouts you can look on the saddle to see if your saddle actually has its length stamped on it somewhere, so you don't even need to do the measuring. Tape measure in inches. Why in inches? Well, most saddles are measured in inches still. I hope they keep up at that because I'm not very good at centimetres. So to measure a saddle in the correct way, we measure from the centre of the nail head. So that's just a little nail thingy-jiggedy at the front here that has like the manufacturer's logo in it. So we pop our tape measure in the middle of that, we bring it up to the middle of the cantle. From the middle of the nail head, from the middle there to the centre of the cantle, this one is measuring at, you can see there, 16 inches. So this measures at 16 inches. Now I happen to know this is a 16-inch saddle, so it's measured correctly. This is a saddle that measures true to its size. Now for the grey area. So that is the black and white bit, but what about the grey bit? Because there is a grey area here. Not all saddles are, what do they measure? Does that make sense? Not all 16-inch saddles measure 16 inch, not all 16.5-inch saddles measure 16.5 inches. And I have one here next to me. I'm going to show you. It's a 16.5-inch saddle. I know that because I had it made, but these saddles measure big. So this here is a 16.5-inch saddle. I know that for a fact, and I'm going to show you in a minute how I know that, because a lot of saddles are actually marked with their length on them, and a lot of people don't know where to look. So I'm going to measure this just to show you that it's not all black and white, and let's face it, that's a reason to ask your saddle fitter. So we put the little thing on in the middle of the nail head here, and we bring it all the way back to here, and this saddle is measuring at 17 inches. So how is that? How does a 16.5-inch saddle measure at 17 inches? Well, it's to do with the tree. So what we're really measuring when we measure the length is the tree. It's the size of the tree that's put into the saddle. This tree here is a 16.5-inch tree. This will go into a saddle. That's a 16.5-inch saddle. But sometimes saddles have a little bit of extra padding on them. You see this one here? It's very well padded. And because of that, it does mean that sometimes saddles can measure ½ an inch more than they actually are, which causes absolute chaos in the world of eBay and PayPal and people buying and selling saddles, because someone will buy a saddle off a saddle fitter, for example. They'll buy it as a 16. You could buy this one from me as a 16.5-inch saddle. 10 years down the line, you might get a different pony, you need to sell your saddle, and you put this one on and you got all your paperwork and you see it says 16.5 inches. So you sell it as a 16.5 inches, and it arrives at its new home and they get their tape measure out and they give it a measure and they're like, that's not 16.5 inches, that's a 17 inch, and my saddle fitter told me that I can only have a 16.5 inch, therefore that saddle doesn't fit my horse, therefore I've been skanked, therefore I'm writing all about you all over Facebook saying you're a scammer and I want all of my money back now. And that happens. Whereas the poor person that sold this saddle actually is telling the truth. So how do you know for sure? A lot of saddle manufacturers actually stamp the saddle with the length on them. If your saddle is stamped, it's usually, but not always, usually underneath the left flap. We lift up the left flap here, and this one here says 16.5. This is a 16.5 inch saddle. Even though it measures a 17, it's a 16.5 inch saddle. We look at this little one here that's a 16 inch that we measured earlier. Under the flap, again the left flap by the girth straps, you won't be able to see this because it's really faded, but this one here says 16 inches. So this is indeed a 16 inch saddle. Some other saddles, for example mono flap saddles, you might find it on the underside like right underneath. Other saddles, it can be a little sticker on the stirrup bar, usually the left again. It can be anywhere. There's often a serial number. So if you have a serial number on your saddle, so this one here for example has a serial number, it's got a 5-digit number on there which is its serial number, you can ring the manufacturer up. Hi, I've got a saddle here, it's serial number 7269, can you tell me what it is please? And they'll say, certainly madam, and they'll go and they'll say that is a 17 inch blah blah blah, because they wouldn't know because it'll all be on record. So remember, we don't measure it from the middle of the pommel, we don't measure it from halfway down the flap, we measure from the centre, the very centre of the head nail to the very centre of the cantle, and we pull it straight. Or we look under the left flap and we see if there is a stamp under there. Is there a stamp? Does it say 16.5, 17, 17.5? No? If not, does it have a serial number? Ring up and ask about the serial number. Because widths can be changed on saddles, but lengths can't. So if your saddle was manufactured as a 16.5 inch, for example, or a 16 inch, or a 17, or a 17.5, and that's what it came out of the factory as, then no matter how many times it's adjusted or flocked or widened or narrowed, it's always going to be that length. The width can change, everything else can change, but that length will not change. So in brief, how to find out the length of your saddle: measure it, look out for the stamp, or ring up about the serial number. Or you can skip all of those steps and just ask your saddle fitter. If you found that at all useful, then please feel free to scroll through all my previous videos, and don't forget to subscribe, because I do loads of these sorts of videos all the time, top tips, saddle fitting, etc, etc. Don't forget to like, and also you can ask questions in the comments below, because I love answering questions. In the meantime, I'll see you in a future video. Take care, stay safe, and lots of love.